visiting a friend of mine in Langa township here in Cape Town, I was struck by how much she'd been inspired and changed by a young man she called Coach Tshandu. Coach Tshandu is a life coach operating in Langa township who has travelled an amazing journey from gangsterism to changing people's lives. Join me as he tells me his story. So, Coach Tshandu, I don't call you Kulani any more than anyone else does. Does anyone call you Kulani?
No, not anymore.
No, not anymore. Coach Tshandu. A township is not usually where you find a coach.
Yeah.
You find them in corporate, you find them in Constantia, you find them in all these places. How the hell did you become a coach?
Thank you for welcoming me in your TV show. Okay, for me, I didn't just become a coach for the sake of choosing profession. So it all started with my past. So in my past, I grew up in the Cape Flats area of Gugulethu, called Gakyard. Believe it or not, it's Gakyard.
I can believe it.
Yeah. So in that area, it was full of gangsterism, drugs and all that, but it is the most notorious area in Gugulethu. So even if you stayed in Gugulethu, you wouldn't enter Gakyard. Gakyard had 4 entrances. So no one who doesn't live there enters.
Okay.
That's how rough was it.
Yeah.
If you enter, you don't belong there, you get shot, you get killed. So that's the environment I grew up in. So through the influence and the environment, look, home wasn't poor. Home wasn't poor. Home was okay. Actually, home had businesses. But because of now the outside influences where there was gangsters and wanted a sense of belonging, now felt that I'm growing up, my mother needs to let go of me. I need to claim independence. So I became part of the gangs.
Okay. Were you still at school at that time?
Yes, I was in primary school. I was doing standard 3 actually when I started.
Wow.
So in standard 3, in schools, the gangsterism was very high in Gugulethu. So they used to come and shoot in school, they chase us around. So I was a sweet boy. So I was tired of being chased around. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to run anymore. And much as I'm not going to run anymore, I'm going to join a gang so that I'm protected. So I studied in a school where it's outside of my area where I live. So in the area where I live, there was a primary school and there was a high school. But I went outside my area, which meant now from school to home, I had to face this rival gang on my way. So I used to duck and dive all the time. So what happened eventually, because they used to chase me in primary school, the gangs from my area, they would come and fetch me from school.
So that
we go together, it's protection. Yes.
Wow.
So I had to say, you know what, I need to give back to them as well. So become part of the gang. It felt good that because you had a sense of belonging, you have protection. Then in standard 5, I wasn't given my school report to proceed to high school because I had a gun at where they farewell. Then we went to the beach the next day as a school. So we were drunk, I had a gun at the beach and that. So they had to call our parents to come and fetch
You were one of those really scary kids.
Yeah. But very sweet, in full uniform.
So sweet. Okay.
So that perception that if you only have a gun, you must look scary and that.
Yes.
Most people who hold guns illegally, they look sweet. They have white collars, they have ties, they have jackets. See, so I was one of those. When you see me, you wouldn't say. So in high school, I joined the choir, I joined the debate team, all the nice activities. But I still had a gun, and they didn't know. They said it was a sweet boy wearing glasses. They didn't know. They couldn't associate me with those things.
They think you're just an academic kid because you got glasses.
Yes. So what we used to do at the back of the toilets, the teachers used to ask me, but you knew you had standard 6. Everyone who goes there, they get bullied, they get flushed down the toilet, they get to do funny things with them. But the funny thing, you go and come back safe. When they go around bullying others, make them ride chairs like they buses and that, say, drive this chair, make a U-turn, make a wheelie in the chair.
Yeah.
But we never see anyone doing that to you. What's up with you? I'm saying, no, it's fine, I'm lucky. And I knew I was one of them.
Yeah.
But I kept it on the down low.
Right.
So normally on lunch breaks, we'd go and distract now the activities happening in school. So during that time, there was a debate team happening, debate club, it's a school. So I loved ladies at that time. So I went, the nice ladies, the sophisticated ones with blazers, they in there. So I need to go there when they disrupt. Maybe I might catch one or two. So I went in there. When I got there, I fell in love, man, with debating.
Wow.
I found something else that captured my heart.
Did you discover you were good at it? I mean, like a natural or something?
No, I went to disrupt first. I didn't join. I just went to stand at the window, throw breaks, throw that whilst they practicing. But I ended up protecting the debate club, saying, you know what, no one's going to come and disrupt this one. I'm going to protect this one.
Because you liked it.
Yeah, because I liked it when I listened to it. Then I ended up going in, listening. After listening, ended up being part of the team.
Amazing.
So from being part of the team, I joined, and I became so good at it. We went to your so-called multiracial schools, white schools, and we beat the hell out of them. We came in number one. And I was always the best speaker on debating. So for me, I now that I'm wiser, I realize that I loved the challenge, breaking boundaries, breaking grounds, which was always my thing, breaking ground. But back then I didn't realize. But it gave me that satisfaction and fulfillment when I did that. I still came back from national finals again. We won the national finals. It's the Western Cape under Rotary. When I came back again, most of my friends have been arrested.
Yeah.
They put the army in Kakiat to arrest gangsters because we were shooting police as well and all that. So I wasn't there when that happened. And I got to ask myself then, why? Why do I always miss these things? But I will never forget the day when I was walking around Gooks. Now this was after high school. I think the year after, when I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was walking around Gooks and I met this gang I used to shoot. I was like, yo, the area called Section 2. I was like, yo, you see, today is the day. I'm dying. They're going to shoot the hell out of me now. So I say, you know what? I don't care what happens. My last activity was good. It was I just came back from representing my province. I did good things. So with that conversation when you're convincing yourself, at least I wasn't a gangster all the way. I did some good stuff. I just came back from doing good things for the society. So it's fine. I can die. I had that conversation within a split second by myself as I was walking towards them. And I said, I'm not going to turn and run. When I got to them, so they stop and they build a wall. And I said, this is the day. And funny enough, when that happened, the feeling of fear moves away from you. You get a feeling of being content with what's about to happen. They said, where have you been? We've been fighting, we've been shooting, but we haven't been seeing you specifically. I said, no, I've been busy. And the other one says from them, no, he's busy with that debate thing in school. He became a morphe now. He's soft, he's doing debates and he's running around. He's no longer stronger and that and that and that. You're like, oh, now you turn to this. Oh, okay. No, because of that, you're no longer with them. We'll let you go. Then I went. So with the little good I did, it saved my life that day. And on that day I realized, doing a bit of good does have its benefit when it's needed most. So I went and volunteered at Love Life. It's a behavior changing program.
So that's a community organization?
Yes, it's an NPO.
That's an NPO.
So I went and volunteered. Now my basis of volunteer was this. Because I didn't die on that day, I'm going to give back to the community. So I see, this is my field, this is where I belong, changing people's lives. So from there, I spent time there. However, on my first years working with these organizations, I was caught in between. Now in gangsterism, I needed to move up the scale. Now I'm no longer chasing and shooting people, but we needed to move the scale of robbery now. In gangsterism, it's treated as another level, a bigger level.
And you're constantly having to prove yourself.
Yes, yes. So I would go to work during lunch breaks. I would manage my time very well. I would do both. Up to a time when now I needed to attend meetings with other organizations and other entities and universities. So I saw all these white people around me, and I'm sitting in the boardroom. So the meeting would go on, I would think, what if one day I go in a jewelry store or someone's home, go to rob them, and see one of these people. And my most important thing was the respect they were giving me on the meetings. The attention they were giving me on the meetings, that was enough for me. So how disappointed would they be if now they will see me on the other side?
Right.
That's when I took a decision. That no more I'm going to do this.
So, I mean, that's amazing because you were so conscious in that whole process. But isn't it difficult to get out of the gang scene? I mean, if you can't just walk away.
Yeah.
Because like you know who they are, you know their secrets.
Yeah. No, it's not easy. Remember, like I said, I didn't want to do both gang and work.
Right.
But you couldn't just leave.
Yeah.
So you had to participate in something. But as the less time you spend with them, the less are they interested in you. Sometimes when they go to some robberies, they don't tell you about it.
Right.
Because they get jealous now as well that you can't go to robbery and you still have a salary.
Right.
You can't have both. So it was not a matter of secrets, it was a matter of you getting more benefits on the professional world, but also on this world. It's not fair.
They're not saying to you, you need to split it with us.
No. They knew I knew my story. I'd shoot the hell out of them. They knew. So as we moved on doing that, I had to. So as I was participating in this organization, I was mentoring young boys and girls and that. So some of them would go to their home. Some of them, their smaller brothers, and they would talk about me. But so and so, you is good. They taught us this today, and then. So for them also, they were caught in between because, as much as they are gangsters, they wouldn't like their younger brothers to become gangsters. So when they come back with a positive message that we should go to school, we shouldn't be gangsters, so they admire a person who does that. And when they get there, the person is me.
Right.
So they were also now caught in between. So for some reason, they like, okay, it's fine, do whatever. And then I moved to Khayelitsha, and then it's a totally different new ground.
Right.
So for about 13 years, I spent in the behavior change programs. So this much time I spent there, I felt this is me. This is where I belong.
So you were teaching youngsters
to change their lives. Yes. So at that time there was an issue of HIV rate going up, teenage pregnancy, gangsterism, gender-based violence. So I would talk about real stories. I would talk about behavior change. So I grew in that field, and I said, this is where I belong. So the whole passion started from there. So it was always there because when I first joined, I did the debate and did that personal development program. Somehow I got fulfillment, which I only thought I would get through the gangsterism part. But something else could provide that feeling. So hence I always say in my coaching sessions, feeling is important. Because you do most of the behaviors because you want a certain feeling.
Right.
Yeah. So I got the feeling now doing behavior change programs. But after 13 years being in the field, through various positions, different organizations now, I became frustrated because we cannot be fighting gangsterism and it keeps on growing.
Right.
So you can't be fighting against HIV and then the stats keeps on growing. So I was like, no man, something is wrong here. Now like I'm wasting my time here now. I don't like wasting
It's not working, kind of.
Yeah. So the interventions now, man, they're not working. So if we get little results or we get none. And if you're looking inside these organizations, things that people do not know. If you're looking inside this organization, things that people do not really take seriously. These organizations are full of people who have never been through behavior change programs for themselves.
Right.
So for them, it's the job.
Right, and it's theory. It's not
theory,
real.
yes. So most of them, they're there because I want to go work there. So for me, then, I always clashed with people at work, up to the director. So there's organizations where directors don't like me because I would tell them. Because I would feel that, you know what, it's like you're playing a game of chess. This is not a game, these are people's lives.
Yeah.
How can you take such careless decisions with knowing what's happening on the ground and you're saying the donor would not want this? So I was doing this for the donor or for the benefit of the people.
That is such a key point. I mean, everything you just said could even be applied to government.
Yeah.
Is that what is the real motivation? Is it because there's someone who's donating or investing or whatever, or are you actually trying to get the results?
Exactly. So they're more interested in the next funding cycle, So I was saying they were relying most on European funding. There was global fund at that time. Global fund set the standards and that and that. I'm like, what influences global fund to set the standards? And you find most of the directors of these organizations, they're not South Africans. And then they came here, open organizations. If they are South Africans, they left there when they were very young, at a privileged state. When they came back, they started organization. And they are steering the whole thing. They're going abroad, attracting funding. They get funding in easily because they speak the same language as the donor, but not the same language as the beneficiary. So the organizations, those who are realistic, who are real, on the ground, which are owned by South Africans, by community people, they don't get funding because donors can't relate to them. And they are the ones who are making a difference. There are good organizations who died because of funding. So what I've done working through these organizations, I work for about 11 organizations. So I know these things. I know the dynamics and the politics. And it's really a shame when you're teaching people motivation, behavior change, confidence, believe in yourself. But the same director who says we must implement these programs, when you start being confident when talking to them and challenging them, then you're going to be fired very soon. Cook something up. They can't stand the heat when you have benefited from what you are teaching. It becomes too much for them. They teach you to challenge authority. But them themselves, they do not challenge authority. Which comes back to the fact that they were not there for the right reasons. From the word go. So when they go to the lower ground, there's volunteers who are there to volunteer because they want to change their communities, they are passionate about communities. Now these people become a stumbling block because they've been influenced by the director or whoever is management on their other side. Then those projects in the locations, they die. Hence they move, if you see now, they move to a point where now they start bringing in food, because they know people want food. So if there's a workshop, there's food, then we're going to get the register full. But behavior change? Nah. Then they will tell you numbers. We want numbers. They will be literally saying in the meeting, we want numbers. You can't have 10 people in the workshop. But no one is saying, out of the 10, what happened after 2 months? How did their life change? How did this? Because if you're changing one person and they go into a family of 5, probably 3 will be influenced by this one person. They don't use that math. They want 30 people in the register, you did good. You didn't do good. The seats were filled with people, that's it. You didn't measure behavior change. Like there's one organization I always say I admire. In the olden days, not currently, they've lost it. Love Life. Love Life in the olden days was the real thing. You could see it was black. It was colored. It was our people running the organization. We influenced the programs. If you went to the office, up to the national office, you find people sitting on the floor when they designing programs. It was real. It was the ground. They came to the ground. This guy, Richard Branson, funded Love Life. He came from there, didn't stay at the national office. They said, on your tea, on your coffee, I want to go to Lavender Hill when there's a lot of shooting and talk to the people. I want to go to Gooks. I want to talk to the groundbreakers. So he came attached with the real thing, not with what's happening today. So as a result, back then, Love Life had a lot of impact. So if you look at the group back then, they're in high places in society. Like you look at likes of Sibulele Sipata is an ambassador for Virgin Richard Branson is going social responsibility programs. You look at, I can name most of the people who were there in that time of me and before me. They're in right places and right positions because they gained results. Through that period and all those dynamics of NGOs, I became frustrated because I'm not seeing change and I'm in part of this problem. So I decided to resign. I have responsibilities, I have kids. So in my years of being a gangster and that, I couldn't care about anything. So I had money, I had all the women I want, I had cars and that. So I had kids along the way.
Right.
Because having a kid at that time was a big thing.
Yeah.
You can't have money and have no child.
Yeah.
You must go and say, I'm going to see my boy.
Yeah.
You must go, when you go and steal, you buy something, my boy. So it was a pride. So when I became frustrated on this, so I had responsibilities, places to stay. I needed now to pay rent and the groceries and that, because I'm no longer in gangs. I was working. So when I stopped working, now life became a struggle. But I said, I'm not going to sell my soul for something that is not it anymore. So what happened there, I resigned. But I didn't just sit when I resigned. I had a plan. So I went to find out why. Because if you look at the beneficiaries, they know what to do to change the behavior. But they're not utilizing what they know.
Right.
So I needed to find out why. When I found out, I realized, then that means these people haven't changed their mind. So I needed to do a course that will help me to develop me, to help people to be able to change their mind. That's when and where I went to do now the neuro-linguistic programming course. And NLP is. Then I went to do the life coaching to guide people to the right direction. Hence I became now a coach. Now I'm specific on people calling me coach. They used to call me Mr. Tshandu, Mr. That. I'm saying, I'm no longer a Mr.
Right.
Yeah. I even give them a brief background. Someone was called a Mr. because he was a master of the house.
Good point. Yeah.
And then a Mrs. is a mistress.
Right.
So it is the master's wife.
Right.
So I'm not a master of anyone's house. I'm not oppressing anyone. I'm not a master. And someone is called a doctor because of their profession of who they are.
Right.
So I don't conform to that, and I'm not a doctor. But what I am change. So I coach you to change. So I am a coach. Hence I said, I'm always, even if you introduce me, I'm going to go on stage. Once you say Mr., I don't stand up.
Wow. That's powerful as well, because, I mean, you started off speaking about identity.
Yeah.
And in many ways, you know, 'cause like I say, I mean, I really know you as coach. I didn't really know you as Pulani.
Yeah.
You know, it's you putting your money where your mouth is. You're saying, this is who I am what I am, and I'm walking my talk.
Yeah, true.
So, but working with people in the townships and people who've had this kind of background, say gangsterism or whatever, is it to them, do they not see coach or coaching or NLP as some kind of outside thing?
Okay, what happened when I went into NLP, I went in knowing that there's no NLP in the township.
Right.
There's no life coaching in the township.
Exactly.
Even to do this course, I had no money.
So, because it also looks like some foreign thing.
Yeah, it's like a white people
So white people
thing.
do this,
Yeah.
yeah.
So when I looked at it, I was like, how am I going to afford this? I think I paid about 2% of the course. Then I went in there, we made a deal with the director of Action Factory. So, you know, Dion, I can't afford this course. But I'm going to do this course. Whilst doing it, I'm going to find you other people who can do the course. So for everyone I bring, you take down my bill. They're like, okay. We never heard of this one. So yeah, because I was looking in the classroom where I did the course, we were only 4. And I said, if I bring in more people, it means more money for you and more references.
Yeah.
He agreed.
Huh.
That's how I got it. I didn't get
That's
the thing
amazing.
because I paid for it, I can afford it. But because I've set my mind to that, I want it, then my mind showed me ways on how to get to it. So that wasn't enough. The people I brought in went to overbid a half, about 60% of the course. But what Dion does, because he's a coach as well, he understands now the law of attraction. He could realize and understand the passion I have. He sent an email and say, you know what? You can come get your certificates. It's fine. You don't have to pay the balance.
Amazing.
Then I got it.
That's amazing.
So that's how I became a coach. Then I owned the coach.
You did, and of course you were learning from someone who also puts his money where his mouth is. So that was the right way.
Yeah,
for you
Dion
to
is the
learn.
man. So what I've done, I wanted now to introduce the concept in the township.
Right.
That's where the problem starts now.
Well, you might have thought that the journey ends there when you arrive at your passionate career, but as Coach Tshandu said, that was only the beginning of the problems. Of course, he would discover that the world of coaching, like anything else, is full of its own politics. And there was always that matter of the Sangomas who had already found him. So Coach Tshandu continues with his remarkable story next week and also gives us some of his philosophy of how to be and how to live and what's next. So be sure to join us here next week at the same time.